Hello, everybody. I don't really know how to start this one.
This is a Pixarspective that will really take you on a journey to the inside of your mind.
Indeed it will. Welcome to Pixarspective. I'm Random Bystander here.
I'm the Wash.
I am emotional.
We're all emotional.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one.
I'm trying to be happy campy, but this movie, the feels were felt.
Very eloquent way of putting it.
Yes. You know me. So, in case you don't know or can't read the title, we are going to be talking about Inside Out.
Yes, 15th of the Pixar film. Let's start. Let's take it from the top. Let's talk about our experiences.
Oh.
All right. I'm going to ask this now because I'm the one who always goes last. Are you going last, Wash?
Well, the
thing is,
Random and I have a shared experience with this.
Yes, we have a story with this one.
And this was, because as we've spoken before, this was going to be one of the films where we'd watch this as a trio. Unfortunately, there was some scheduling issues.
No, it wasn't a scheduling issue. I believe KirbyFan was sick.
Oh my god, I remember that. Yeah, I was definitely sick. That was horrible.
Yeah.
Because I remember my girlfriend wanted to see it with me, and my girlfriend at the time wanted to see it, and I was like, I want to, but Wash and KirbyFan.
I feel like I egged you on and said, yeah, let her come aboard. I wasn't like approach the idea of watching it with her.
Yeah, okay. I remember now. I think I was like, yes, it'll be you two and me and her, and no one will be the third wheel. And then KirbyFan got sick.
Yes.
That was bronchitis too. That wasn't a cold. It was a cold. If it was a cold, I would have went. I wouldn't have cared. But I had bronchitis.
I've had bronchitis before. I don't ever do that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. I was excited to see the movie, but at the same time, I felt bad because Wash was the third wheel. And no one wants to feel like Cars 3, the third wheel. It's just not good.
I would love to be involved with Cars 3.
Put that episode in the annotations. Anyway.
Rip annotations.
Yeah, you made me sad.
Or whatever.
You made me experience sadness. Ooh.
Can I say what really made me... I'm sorry to take us back, but you know what really made me feel like a third wheel? Was being alone and not liking the short that came before Inside Out Lava.
We have to talk about the short.
Wait,
this was the first. Let's talk about
this. Wasn't. Did we even finish talking about our experiences though?
That is the experience.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, my experience is different, but I mean, lava is an integral part of my experience because it's awful and I hate it. It's the worst Pixar short I can safely say I hate it.
Maybe like one day when we actually do talk about the shorts in detail, but as of now, lava might have been the worst of the shorts.
I remember liking it at the time, but only because I was with my girlfriend at the time.
Exactly, because I remember being in shock at what I was seeing, and when I looked over, you and her were kissing.
Oh God.
God damn it.
Oh God, I'm so mad at myself for doing that. I'm so sorry. I took advantage of the romantic moment. No matter how stupid it was, no matter what they sang about the brink of extinction.
And then the one volcano had titties or something. That was...
Hey, it's not the worst Pixar short I've seen before a movie. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Okay, one final thing to wrap up our experiences before we get into a plot summary. How many times did we see this movie in theater?
Wait, we didn't talk about your experience yet.
I got bronchitis. I was sick. I eventually went to see it with Wash. Lava happened. I hate it. And then I watched the movie, and I loved it. That's pretty much the only thing that wasn't really covered.
I'm pretty sure I saw Inside Out twice in the theaters.
Yeah, I saw it only once, even though I wanted to see it twice. I loved it. I praised the movie up and down when it first came out.
I did as well.
In that case, I have you guys beat. I saw it 4 times.
Oh, yeah, that's
Jeez. Right. That's probably
The only movies that I've ever gone to see in theaters more than twice were Inside Out, that was 4, and Wreck-It Ralph, that was 3.
Oh yeah, I remember when we saw Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, everything else was either once or twice.
That was wow. I don't think I've ever seen a movie more than twice in theaters.
I still haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph a second time. I'd be down to revisit that. But anyway.
Yeah, so we'll get to that when we
get to that. Right.
So who's going to do the plot summary for Inside Out?
Wash.
Okay.
I think it's appropriate.
Okay,
it's
fine.
Appropriate. If I did it for Incredibles, you could do it for Inside Out.
All right. You know what Inside Out is? It's just a clever visual metaphor used to personify the abstract concept of thought. That's my plot
One more
summary.
crack like that and you're out of here.
No, please, I have because that's my plot summary.
Yes, all right, continue. Wash. Plot.
Okay, fine. I just said the whole thing. It's a visual metaphor of a little girl and her emotional journey because this is a coming-of-age story for the human Riley, and it's a coming-of-age story for Joy, who is becomes the de facto leader of the emotions. She is at best ambivalent towards sadness, doesn't really get her deal, but through a whole bunch of circumstances, they end up getting booted out of their headquarters, both Joy and Sadness, and now the rest of the film is them trying to get back to headquarters and fix Riley. She just moved into San Francisco and she's at an emotional downturn. So you get like two plots that inform each other. You get Riley and you get Riley's mind and the Joy and Sadness's journey along the way. I hope I did a good job with that.
You did good.
Yes, very good. Excellent.
Very good.
I thought I had covered clever visual metaphor used to personify the abstract concept of thought.
Well, I wanted more detail. This is Inside Out we're talking about. It's not Good Dinosaur or A Bug's Life.
The Good Dinosaur.
That's next week for The Good Dinosaur.
I can't wait. And you know what? And the seeing the Good Dinosaur cameos in this film.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
I saw that and I cringed. And I watched this on Blu-ray because I usually watch them all on my computer. But this one I watched on Blu-ray because I owned it and I cranked up my PS4 and there was a preview and the first one was the Good Dinosaur.
Yes!
And it just reminded me of the fact that I have to deal with it next week. And okay,
I can't wait.
So, before we actually get into the emotions themselves, because there's so much to say about the emotions, what were your first impressions from the movie itself, the opening?
Oh my god, it's probably one of Pixar's best openings.
It's a beautiful opening, absolutely.
It's one of my... If we list the top 10 Pixar openings, it would probably be in the top 3.
Yeah, that's...
It's excellent. Yeah. I don't know how I would rank the openings other than up, but... It's among the excellent ones for sure. If I had to categorize them by an adjective, I would put it under the excellent ones.
Exactly. It's gorgeous. Story structure wise, it works. Everything clicks. You get introduced to all the characters. It's bright and colorful.
One complaint I am so tired of hearing about this opening is, why could Riley's emotions talk from the very beginning? Wouldn't that mean Riley could talk too?
That's
like, oh my god. No, it's like, oh my god.
Can I? Okay, I didn't want to say this so soon, but do you remember that one fucking YouTuber? I'm not gonna give him his name, but he posted a video about like Pixar's downturn, and this came out right before. I remember this came out right before Coco 2, and like at the end of that, it was like Coco's gonna be awful. I had no faith in Coco, and with the Inside Out, he had look. If you don't enjoy Inside Out, okay, fine. I'm sad that it didn't work out for you, but if your complaints are nitpicks, then I'm sorry, I just can't jive with that.
Because honestly, there's a lot of things this film gets right. And
there was so much this film
especially
right.
Compared to things like Monsters U, Brave, Cars 2, good god.
Yeah, the last films we've had to look at.
What makes Inside Out sing so much for me is, like, it is so close to not working.
Yeah.
So nearly there in so many different aspects. But they got it just right, and it makes me appreciate it so much more.
Okay, this is really a nitpick. But something that I think would have been kind of nice, just because the rest of the film is so imaginative. that it really does kind of stand out that the islands are called Hockey Island, Family Island, Honesty Island. Like, they're not very creative. I think Goofball Island was a good step in the right direction. That encompasses a lot of things. It's not to the detriment of the film. It's just, it stands out because everything else is so imaginative.
I think it goes with, like, even though it's imaginative, life inside of Riley's head is very simple. Like, all the characters are named after the emotions they portray.
Mm-hmm.
All the islands are named after, like, the core memories they are based on.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of stuff is just, like, very simple. The only stuff we get, but it does a lot of imaginative stuff with these simple concepts. Like, they name the character Joy, but she has more layers to it. They name it Goofball, things like Hockey Island, but the island itself looks incredible. They just have, like, dreams, but, like, the dreams itself are just, like, these huge Hollywood movie studios, which made me chuckle. But I don't mind the simple names because they do inventive things with those simple concepts.
Yeah, I don't know how, and it's hard for me to think of how else you could describe it like that. I understand your complaint, though. It's nitpick.
Yeah. Yeah. And even as Random was talking about why he was okay with it, I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, yeah, that's a good point.
There's one nitpick I have with the movie too, or there's a couple nitpicks actually. Some things there's one plot hole that it didn't make sense to me.
Ooh.
But we'll get to that later. We should probably talk about the characters. Joy, first character we meet right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Both her strength and flaw are kind of the same if you think about it. Is that she sees the joy in things.
It's the double-edged sword of I just want to make Riley happy. It's a pure noble thought, but you really get it to see how making someone happy isn't enough. Somebody's joy and happiness is important, and ultimately that's the goal you want to reach. But just being happy, it's not enough.
No,
and that's such an abstract message for not only a kids movie but a movie. But it's explained in such a creative, easy to understand way with the literal personifications of these emotions.
Absolutely,
yeah.
It's very much analogous to Woody.
I did notice some comparisons there.
Once they like split off and they become lost toys. Like joy and sadness, they have their conflict, but they eventually grow to need each other. What was bugging me in some parts was there were certainly some moments where it's like, oh, Joy, no. Where it was
okay. This is both going to be a critique of Joy and a defense of her.
Yes.
It's similar to what I was saying about Merida when we were talking about Brave, but I definitely like Joy more. Because I agree. I thought she went too far sometimes. I was, rolling my eyes, kind of even getting annoyed at her.
Me too, at points.
But the thing is, like I was just saying, she is the personification of joy. When you're happy, you don't not want to be happy. So when your sadness is telling you something, you just push it to the side because you're joy,
Yeah. Like there were moments like her literally putting sadness in a circle. Like, just stay in this spot and don't move. Yeah. Like that was like, Jesus Christ. But also that stuff is motivated by fear, because when that happened, like one of the memories had already turned blue. Like Joy was just not sure what was going wrong here, and she just wants to contain it right now.
Sadness couldn't even control what she was doing half the time. She just felt almost not forced, but just like she had
an impulse.
Instinctual to do it because it was a sad memory. But yeah, it's weird how to think Joy was kind of an extremist at this point. At some points, it was like she must be happy. That's the only thing to do. There's one point where all the emotions decide things are just not good right now. Things are crappy. Things are the worst. We should let everyone know that we are not happy about the move. And then the mother says something about, we thank you for being our happy girl all throughout this. And then it's like, can you just stay happy just a little bit longer? And then everyone's like, oh, you did good, Joy. You did good. And it's funny thinking about that with later in the film with what happens.
Yeah. Because we start to realize, that's
not healthy.
Staying the happy little girl was ruining her.
Yeah.
She lashes out. Like, I know that Pete Docter had based this film on the experience of, like, his daughter was born right around Monsters, Inc. And so when this came out, she was right at Riley's age. And she was also, like, he was noticing how much she just changed. So he had that, what is going on in her head? And that became the inspiration for the rest of it. And also, I'm just going to say this real quick. Another inspiration for this was that the original concept for Monsters Incorporated was that the monsters were going to be monsters, going to be like imaginary monsters. Each of them would represent one man's fear. And they had to, and it was like, that's kind of abstract. Let's broaden it out. Let's get more into like Monster World and monsters in the closet. And it's obviously like that worked out really well. Anyway, I have a lot more on that, but I'm gonna stop.
It's okay. No, we like you talking about that stuff. It's good.
Yeah, you've been awfully quiet. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, I was expecting you to talk a little bit more about this.
I know I keep bringing this movie up, and someday I'll stop. Except not really. But during the Incredibles episode, I wouldn't shut up. I was kind of expecting something a little similar to that.
And during Up, I wouldn't shut up. So,
well, I guess I'll talk about that soon. But right now, I'm well okay with just being more of the one who holds the floor.
Okay, but feel free to speak up about anything.
Yeah,
absolutely,
always.
Another character we should talk about is probably the next main character, Sadness.
Yeah, I really liked Sadness.
I liked her a lot too.
Played by Phyllis Smith, who played Phyllis from The Office, and knocked it out of the park with this.
Oh my god, yeah, she did well. I remember liking her when I first saw the movie, but I really thought she was funny in this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like this about all of the emotions in the movie, but what I really like about it's specifically sadness and fear, but we're talking about sadness right now. The characters of the emotions in this movie, they're really good because they hold nothing back. These are extreme versions of these emotions.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Sadness literally says at one point, we can cry until we can't breathe, and that is sadness. I love when Joy is dragging her along because I'm so depressed I can't walk, and Joy drags her along. She likes it. That's when somebody who's so sad that they can't move, they would internally appreciate someone going through the effort to drag them along.
Yeah.
It's nice.
She even says, I actually kind of like this.
Yeah, the long walk, and then she lifts up her foot and says, "I'm ready."
Yeah.
I kind of sad because she's kind of treated like a burden throughout like the good first third of the film.
Oh, for a while too.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why I get annoyed at Joy at points, because she just treats Sadness like a burden. And it's not like malicious or anything. She just doesn't know what to do with her.
Yeah, I remember there was one point when she was talking with Joy was talking with Bing Bong, who we'll get to, where Bing Bong was saying, "What? I thought you guys were supposed to be headquarters, and what are you doing here?" And Joy said, "Good question. You want to answer that, Sadness?" And if it wasn't for Amy Poehler, I would be like, "Fuck you, Joy."
Yeah, because Amy Poehler did a good job. All the voice acting is great.
All the voice actors did an excellent
job. Yeah, it's kind of incredible that you have like the whole cast is comedians and sitcom actors. Amy Poehler, Phyllis Smith, Louis Black, Bill Hader, Mindy Kaling, and it's still like incredibly fucking sad.
Oh yeah, God, it's great.
Yeah,
I love when comedians do that. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Going back to Sadness, again, she's treated like a burden throughout the first third of the film. But it's not until like they're out of headquarters when she proves her usefulness. Mm-hmm. She knows how to get places because of the manuals. She's right about the abstract thoughts tunnel, which is great. She actually consoles Bing Bong when he's like at to the point where he's so upset he can't do anything anymore, and it even at the point where it amazes Joy, and she starts to see the value of Sadness. And until the very end, when she's at the dump, she realizes how important Sadness is.
Okay, can I just go straight to Is he my favorite character? It's gonna be pretty damn cool.
Well, okay. What color is this emotion? Because if you're talking about the one I'm thinking you're talking about, I'm taking the floor for this one.
Is your favorite anger?
Oh no. Okay.
Is your favorite fear?
Yeah. But if it's anger, talk about anger. Go ahead. You got this one. Talk about anger.
No, I just fucking love Louis Black so much. I just fucking love him so much.
He's amazing.
Did you just say we couldn't get dessert?
That's such a great way to introduce anger.
We can
We should lock the door and scream that curse word we know. It's a good one.
Now hold on.
They couldn't.
Congratulations, San Francisco. You won pizza. First the Hawaiian, and now you.
Oh my god, he had so many great one-liners. It was so fantastic. And he's relevant to the plot in such a significant way.
Yeah, because he's one of the three that get left behind in headquarters, and they're all important emotions, but also they cannot be the only emotions.
Exactly. So going into this, I remember all 4 times I saw it in theaters. I remember I loved the movie, but I kind of wish that we had more of the emotions that weren't joy and sadness. But watching the movie now, they were so well balanced.
Yeah. I remember, this is jumping ahead, but I remember like one of our complaints was disgust, and I had a ball with disgust this time around.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
In fact, she was often the voice of reason, kind of, for the other two.
Yeah.
I actually got to say, which I think this is the reason why, that this is a very important part of why this movie works so well. The reason why so many poor decisions were made was because the voice of reason was fear. And if you ever listen to your fear, you would know it is the last thing you go to for reason. And I will get to fear later. I will get to fear later. We're still on anger.
Yes, we're still on
anger.
But
oh boy, do I have a lot to say about fear.
No, but it was just so fun. Good lord, there's just so much I love about it. But both in terms of the design, in terms of the character, in terms of the voice acting, there's just so much
anger. I love anger, but one of the things this is a bit of a stretch, but one of the things that I appreciate about anger is not only that when he gets really angry, it's literally erupting lava, which is great visual symbolism.
Yeah.
But also because we can go from watching the short Lava to this and not even think about it. That is also how good it is.
I also love the detail where, like, if you look... I noticed this in the Blu-ray. If you look really closely, like, before it erupts, you see, like, little heat waves.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, like he's about to erupt. He's getting there.
Yeah. And, like, that's something I'd never noticed until now. And it was just, like, great. But I also love Anger because he kind of takes charge with Joy gone.
Yeah, I noticed
for the worst.
He took over the power vacuum.
And again, it is reflective of emotion. When you're not happy, what is the emotion? One of the emotions that's going to take the forefront before any other would be anger. People get angry a lot.
Especially when they don't want to get sad.
Exactly. When they don't want to be, when they're trying to be happy but can't, or they don't want to be sad, you're not going to be disgusted. You're not going to be afraid. 9 times out of 10 at least. You're going to be angry.
I don't know if it's a complaint or not, but I don't know if I should. This is more of an ending thing. I should wait.
Okay. Let's just talk about fear.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, you go.
Quick tangent before we get into fear himself. When I was watching the movie, I was taking screen caps of the character and posting it in our Discord chat. I had to stop myself. At the 6th one, I had to stop myself.
Oh my god, they're all
I wasn't
great.
even halfway through the movie at that point. I love the way this character is drawn and animated. He is the perfect visual representation of fear. I feel like him all the time. I do a good job of hiding it because I've dealt with it for a long time, but I do kind of have pretty bad anxiety. And fear he brings it out so perfectly. And this is such a me thing. I already related with this character so hard, but the thing that really just made me think like, yeah, you cannot get a better representation of fear is the only time that he is comfortable with himself and not a total wreck is when he is alone, having a drink, critiquing movies.
Boo, pick a plot line.
He is such a sharp movie critic.
I know, it's great.
Let me guess, her pants are down.
Called it.
Oh god, that brought back some memories. especially reviewing content now.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I was just like, oh god, Fear, you're my spirit animal.
Oh, she's one bad actress.
I spoilers to be had. Overall, I would still say I think Toy Story 2 is the funniest Pixar movie, but Fear is funnier than Toy Story 2.
Yeah. Just Fear. Yeah.
Like, if we're just talking about Fear, I don't think I've ever laughed that hard watching a movie. It's just because the emotion resonated so much with me, and he was so funny.
I did say that.
Like, all the emotions are exaggerated, of course, but Fear is visually exaggerated. His arms stretch, his eyes explode, his body stretches and contorts. Because it's funny, yeah, but because, he's afraid. He's trying to get out of a situation.
Oh, God.
This is a great moment of Fear and anger. Fear is trying to stop Anger from doing something. Anger grabs him, chokes him. Fear's eyes grow huge, and then he just tosses him.
There was a lot of violence towards Fear. Like, even when Fear tries to stand up to Anger, it never works.
It never works. Because what is Fear going to get you? You're going to start to do something you're afraid. You're going to lose an argument, get beaten up, whatever, and then, that's it.
Oh my god, my favorite thing. I just realized this funny moment. Again, Bill Hader he probably nails the comedic timing.
I really
they just really cast all these emotions so well.
Yeah.
And I think the worst things that could happen are a meteorite or an earthquake or getting called by the teacher. And if
none of those are gonna happen.
All right, we have a new student in class already from the gate.
Pretend we don't speak English.
He grabs onto Joy and he pulls her and they are his face bashes into hers. He's so nervous. There are a minimum of 37 things bad that could happen to Riley right now.
You had mentioned this earlier, but good God, the comedy in this film. I don't recall having watched a Pixar film where I laughed so hard I started coughing. I started retching with laughter.
This movie definitely did make me cry, but I was laugh crying too. Yeah. Mostly with Fear, but I had to. There were multiple times I had to stop to take pictures, but there was at least one point I stopped just because my vision was just getting blurry because I was too busy laughing.
There was one particular moment that I would rather say, but that was the point where I was my throat was hurting.
I'm trying to figure out where it is. Is it in headquarters or out of headquarters?
Before we get to that, though, let's wrap up the main five. Disgust.
Again, not as bad as we all remember, apparently.
Yeah. All of the emotions were brilliantly cast and brilliantly performed, but I think out of all of them, listening to Disgust, it's just, that's it. That's what Disgust sounds like.
Yeah, you can tell that she really channeled the, I'm guessing they were just big fans of The Office, because she is very much I can't remember the character's name in the show, but Mindy Kaling's character in The Office, just transplanted into Disgust. Her ingenuity helped use anger to bust joy and sadness back into headquarters.
I love the comedic, she's just making him mad, and all of a sudden he gets erupted, and you just see a smelting iron
that was amazing.
Thing on her.
That was amazing.
It was so cartoony, and I loved it.
There's a lot of cartoony humor in the movie.
There's so much, and I think that's what makes
it good. Fear, but even ignoring him, which would be tragedy to do so, but even ignoring him, there's a lot of cartoony humor, and it really worked.
Yeah, I love the one detail with anger, with that he was always reading the newspaper. There's one headline that just says "No dessert."
Riley quits hockey.
There's so many small details in this movie to appreciate, but that it would be a problem if they ignored the more important details, but they didn't. So the little details now are just really great things upon your third, fourth, fifth viewing of the film.
I say she was the smart one out of the three, or because she was discussed, but she also would point out things she would Fear would be come on, try and be just like Joy, and she just said something and made Riley say something in a disgust way, and she's what was that? That wasn't Joy, and she's yeah, I'm not Joy. Which also, she may have not been that great with visual comedy. I mean, she had some moments, but her like performance, verbal comedy was great.
Definitely great voice.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What I really liked about Disgust was that none of the ideas that Anger or Fear were coming up with were particularly good. So every time that they came up with an idea, like Fear saying, "I got it, we should just try to be like Joy," she always had a witty remark.
Yeah,
a witty remark of disgust.
Yes. Is that it with the emotions? Because we still have some more characters.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant/dolphin in the room.
The literal.
I remember you saying in the way back in the Bugs Life episode, Richard Kind is Gem, and that when you said that, all I can think of is Bing Bong, because he's shown up in a few other films and Pixar films, and Cars and Cars 2 and Toy Story 3, but God. We finally get some real Richard Kind.
He was good in all those other roles, but he was mostly either comedic or either just plain comedic or not really in the movie that much at all. This one, he gets a prominent role. Like, even more prominent than some of the emotions, if you possibly... Like, he's up there. Like, it's all the emotions, Riley, Bing Bong.
What's so great about him is that, like, there's an obvious, like, comedy in that he's an imaginary friend, and he just has all this weirdness to him that he can't read signs. He can spell letters, but he can't read it.
Because that's preschool. There's also the layer of sadness within him, because he's a forgotten imaginary friend, and he doesn't have much more going for him. And Joy tries to just, like, keep cheering him up until he loses his wagon. And that was where it just kind of broke down for him. And, God, that whole sequence, that was...
Yeah, I know.
That was a good one. And sadness saved the day.
Yeah, that
was kind of the point where Joy first kind of realized, maybe sadness isn't so bad after all.
Yeah.
It might not have sunk in at that point, but that's when she first realized. Sadness is pretty good.
There's one more thing I want to talk about with Bing Bong, but that's more towards the end, so I'm going to save it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows what it is, but good call. This doesn't have to do with any of the characters, but there's one very important part of the movie that we haven't brought up yet. One that is impossible to forget. Triple Dent gum.
Yeah! Did I ask for the gum commercial? Oh, God, like, the minute I heard that, I was like, oh, shit, here we go again.
It took me back to the last time I saw this movie 4 years ago.
Same here, and I was like, oh, God. Apparently that's voiced by, like, sung by a YouTuber.
Yeah, I saw that when I was looking it up. I didn't look much more into it, but it was a YouTuber, and also, like, he did some actual work in Pixar.
That's awesome. Gives us hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we'll be in a Pixar movie.
You just have to work in a Pixar film.
Hey, I will. I'll help out. Pixar, I'll do whatever. Doctor? I'll be doctor. I'll be your janitor. Call me.
Start out in mail. Ooh.
You'll start out in the mail room. Yeah. Oh my God. It's funny though. Triple Mint Gum is great. But it's funny how we mentioned that before we mentioned Riley.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so what I found really interesting was that there were points where, Riley didn't necessarily act off of her emotions because Riley is still her own person. What I loved about that is that it really does kind of show that there is a difference between the emotion and the brain, you know?
Yeah. There was one point where Anger, like, has the idea of to run away. And it's not like he can just automatically, like, put it in and be like, bam, it's done. Riley has to decide to do it. And there's literally a point where, like, she takes a moment, goes to her laptop, and then the light bulb goes inside the console, and Anger just goes, she took it. There's no turning back now. So that is very interesting. Like,
yeah,
we have emotions and thoughts, but it's up to the person to do it.
I really like how that idea of going back to Minnesota makes sense for both the emotions and Riley, because both of them would have the emotions just want to find more joy, and Riley wants to be happy again. Like, I just love how well that worked on both levels. It's harder to talk about Riley because she's more of the landscape than an individual character.
I should bring up, it's again tiny nitpick, but sometimes there were times when like the emotions were going on where I felt like I was just watching a reaction video.
That's a cool way of putting it, but I understand.
I don't know. There's one point like, oh my god, like every little thing is just like they were just reacting to things, and that was it. I mean, it's funny, but I don't know.
That's a very fair complaint. I can ask for
it. If I had to narrow down an actual complaint, something that I don't think is just a nitpick, I don't know why I started thinking about this when we brought up Riley. Well, okay, no, actually I do. There are some point I can't pinpoint any examples. I really should have written some down or waited until today to watch the movie to really have them in recent memory. But there were some points where, let's just say, for example, the emotion that we were with the emotions, a joke happens, like a triple dent gum. They send out the triple dent gum. They get annoyed, and then it goes back to something that's not the emotions. They're there for a little, like a couple seconds, and then it goes back to the emotions. Occasionally, it felt like some scenes didn't need to be where they were because we're right back with those characters again really shortly after. I know this is a really bad way of putting it. I should have taken some examples. I remember triple dent gum one of the times that the emotions pulled it up. Like they pulled it up, they react to it, it goes back to joy, and then really shortly after, it's back to the emotions. And just occasionally, I feel like scenes, it's not that they're misplaced, it's just that there's not enough time to be away from them before we go back.
I wish I think I understand what you mean. I can't think of the exact scene that you're talking about.
But you get what I'm talking about.
I get what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. If anybody watching doesn't, I'm sorry. This is all on me. But
it's okay. It's all right.
But really, as far as full-on complaints, I think that's all I got.
I've got a couple.
Ooh. All right, really quick, because I do really want to hear them, but really quick, while we're talking about Riley, it really just warmed my heart when she was with her mom and dad, and they were happy.
Yes. Oh, my God.
It was so pleasant. Are you talking about the ending? It was so pleasant. No, not the ending, but we will get to that.
Are you talking about the hockey?
But I'm just talking about, for example, when they get to the new apartment, Riley's mom and dad are upset because the moving truck is going to be late. And then Riley just comes in, with her hockey puck and a rolled up piece of paper. And then, she's, egging on her dad as kind of a joke. He catches on. They have some fun. He grabs Riley's mom, gives him a big hug, and they're all laughing. It's beautiful.
It's nice. Yeah. The value of family is strong in this film, and the parents are pretty good too.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with the families, but in one particular scene, that was the one where I was like the laugh so hard I coughed. Joy and Sadness left the headquarters, and it was Riley's first dinner without Joy and Sadness. Riley's mom trying to make her feel better, talking about some hockey tryouts. And Riley doesn't seem as into it. And then we see that the parents have their own versions of the emotions. Oh my God. I just love that scene so much.
We gave up the Brazilian helicopter for that guy? Brazilian helicopter pilot, not a Brazilian helicopter. This isn't Cars 3.
Come with me.
Come with me.
I love the detail that you can see that moms. First off, you can see that the parents' emotions, they have much better equipment and they're much more in tune with each other because they've gone through this. they probably had gone through the exact same thing Riley, Joy and Sadness has gone through. And I also love that the detail that unlike Riley, who's the lead emotion is joy, the mother's lead emotion is sadness, and the father's lead emotion is anger. And I love that detail that they never once say anything about it, but I love that there is some backstory to that you can see. You can see what that is implying. just fantastic. And also it was just so fucking funny when the dad kept trying to like make it better. They're like, oh,
so Riley, how was school?
Oh god. The foot is down. The foot is down. Good job, gentlemen. That could have been a disaster.
Oh, we did a disaster.
Come with me, Kuchi.
What I really liked on that note wasn't as funny. It was so nice. Was at the end when they have the face paint and then the dad's emotions are saying, "Oh, this is one of the best ideas we've ever had," and it pans to the mom and she's saying, "That's one of the best ideas he's ever had."
And they throw away the bajillion helicopter pilot memory and they like fawn over, but then the fear like picked it up just in case.
Just in case. All right. So random complaints.
Again, they're very minor and just more like nitpicky than anything, but only 2 really come to my mind. Well, 3 if you count the reaction video thing. But it's again not too bad because at least they're funny. There's one point where Fear tries to quit, quote unquote, and they won't let him because Disgust says emotions can't quit, genius.
Yes.
Which is funny, but then why couldn't Joy and
I
had that same thought.
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
I think that they specifically said that emotions can't quit because they weren't planning to quit. They just accidentally got ejected out.
Yeah, but
that still doesn't add up.
That still doesn't add up very well.
The only theory I could think of is that they were holding a core memory, and like Joy was holding a core memory. But even then, Sadness got sucked up pretty easily.
Yeah, and Fear was attached to a lot of the memories that were going up. So by nature, he should have gone up with them.
Yeah,
that's one complaint.
I can absolutely see that.
It's easily forgettable. It's just it's a throwaway joke. Fine.
Yeah.
One thing there's one point near the end of the film where like anger all throughout the idea is just like, okay, let's move away. We'll move back to Minnesota. And he's all for the plan. He steals the idea. He decides we're going. And at one point, right when she's about to get on the bus, he seems to just switch on a dime and be like, "This is madness." And I get it. Anger does be panicky, but that's something more Fear would do. And that just switched again. It's thrown me off a loop since the very beginning, to be honest with you.
That's the way that I had seen it was that happened after the emotions were just completely unable to control Riley anymore. When it wasn't until it happened. Was it before?
It was a little bit before.
Oh no! You know what it was? He had just realized that that at one point Riley hangs up on the phone, and that makes Family Island deteriorate, and that's when he realized, oh shit, this was not a good idea.
Yeah,
but I can absolutely see your complaint that that was sudden.
That was just 2 nitpicks I thought of. That in my mind. Again, they're very nitpicky. Still love the film despite them. And the film makes up for it. Oh, one more thing. I thought the climax was creative, but the fact that Sadness was running away from Joy didn't really need to do that.
So
I mean,
it
works.
Valid point. I'm not entirely saying you're wrong, but I feel like it made sense just because Sadness was alone in her thoughts. You know? It was her first time being alone. And the more Sadness is alone, the worse it gets. She doesn't want to be around anybody.
That's a very good point. That wasn't even the point that I was going to make, but yeah, that's a really solid point.
What point were you going to make?
No, I was just going to make the point that, I mean, just think about it. How much has Joy been shitting on Sadness?
That's also a good point.
And I'm not even saying that you're entirely wrong, because when the first couple times I watched the movie, I actually had the same thing. This is the weird thing about Inside Out. A lot of things they don't make so much sense, logically so much, but from an emotional point of view, they make perfect sense. And emotions are not logical.
Oh no, they're not. They are not.
Yeah. I can see the view that moment was when it was starting to get to okay, we have to have this happen in this movie. In terms of the script writing, okay, Joy's trying to get back, but Sadness is running away, and they're having a misunderstanding.
Yes,
and I can absolutely see where you're coming from with that.
Again, not that big of a problem. Just some nitpicks that I thought of. Can I bring up something about the environment? Can I just say I like the environment of the mind itself? Yes. Or is there anything else we want to mention? I like the environment of the mind. I just like how it's constructed from the libraries of the brain and the movie studio. Yeah, that was my favorite. What?
It's also imaginative. It's
so imaginative. The subconscious. Oh my god.
Abstract thought.
Oh god, that was terrifying. But I loved it reminded me of SB129's from SpongeBob.
Yes, that's a very good comparison.
Especially like where they have to go to 2-dimensional. Like, oh, that's so creative.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I do not want to sound like I'm trashing on SpongeBob, but this was way better.
I know, but it just reminded me of that.
Yeah, or the to make a different cartoon reference, the 1 + 1 = Ed.
Oh god.
Oh man. When it was getting like incredibly like Dadaist.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Jeez.
And again, going back to the movie studio, just like all the detail that went to it, from the posters of the movie to how they did the special effects with a distortion lens, and how the director just had a microphone that made it sound like Riley.
That had me laughing so hard.
Oh god.
And he just seemed like so disinterested in it, but it's 11.
And of course, my favorite, I get about part of the subconscious. What's his name? Bojangles?
Bing Bong?
That clown? No, the
clown. The clown.
Oh, Jangles.
Like, I just, like, you see all these terrifying things that aren't really that terrifying, but they probably were to her back then, like the grandma's vacuum cleaner. What else was there? There was
there's broccoli.
Broccoli.
Yeah. Which like, even if like, as a kid I wouldn't have gotten that. Like, I fucking love broccoli. How dare you?
Yeah,
I'll have your broccoli, Riley.
I can understand the basement and the stairs, though, and even the vacuum cleaner. That terrified me as a little kid.
The vacuum cleaner I thought was really creative.
Yeah. Is there anything else we should mention before we get to the ending parts?
2 things real quick. One, there is a prominent anime voiceover actor, Patrick Seitz. Oh. I recognized him. I looked it up to make sure it was him. It is in fact Patrick Seitz. He has a very, very minor role in the movie. He is the conductor of the train of thought.
Oh, cool.
It is Patrick Seitz, and I adore Patrick Seitz. He is a wonderful voiceover artist.
I'm glad he got in a Pixar film.
And my second thing that I want to bring up, because we're just hit 10 minutes. Wash, you've been awfully quiet.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I was gonna bring up was that when you said famed anime voice actor, it's like, John Ratzenberger is not. I don't remember John Ratzenberger being in anime.
I would kill to see John Ratzenberger in
anime. Like when he showed up, he was like so hamming it up to John Ratzenberger. So yes, I have been quiet, and a big part of that is the ending.
Okay. Take the floor.
All right. It's all yours. Go ahead. The ending.
Okay. First off, they lose a whole lot of control. Joy figures out a way to get back into headquarters, but also she realizes that sadness could affect the core memories, and she doesn't want that to happen. So she goes for herself, but instead the tube that she gets sent up to breaks down, and she falls down into the abyss, the Forgotten Realm. And this becomes the point where Joy realizes what all of this had been culminating to. Like, Sadness even said it like way early in the movie. Crying helped me slow down and obsess over the waste of life problems. It really took until an accident when she realizes that one of the memories she cherishes, the hockey game, was tinged in sadness and happiness. Sadness can lead to happiness. Bing Bong and Joy find the wagon, and oh my god. Bing Bong was like, as soon as he had stepped in, he was already getting affected. Like, he was losing his hand and his arm. He looked at himself, and then he says, I got a good feeling about this one. And already I was bawling because I knew what was coming. And when it happened, it didn't make me feel any better. But oh my god, Bing Bong eventually, he sacrifices himself to make the wagon lighter, and his final lines was like, take her to the moon for me. And that's still not the end of the movie.
No,
because now Joy has to chase after Sadness, and we have this hilarious sequence of going through the imagination land. Joy gets really clever with the imaginary boyfriend machine.
I would die for Riley. I'm from Canada.
I just love how inventive it is. She uses Bing Bong Bag because it has infinite stores. She loads up like as many boyfriends as she can, and then she. Oh my God! She finds a specific spot, and all of the boyfriends stack up into one, like it's fucking Mario Maker or something. and then they fall over like for Riley. And she Joy uses the trampoline in the family island, and the trampoline is important because that becomes that's one of her cherished memories about family. He bounces off, catches Sadness. They get over to headquarters. Disgust uses anger, his lava head, to burn through the window, and they make it through. And fear, anger, and disgust, they're ready to let Joy have the console because they have no idea what they're doing. But no, Joy sends it over to Sadness because this is a problem that needs a sad solution. And she goes back to the apartment. The parents, like, they see that she's back and it's like, where have you been? We've been worried sick. And Sadness takes over. And fuck. Oh my God. Here's part of what's made me so quiet. Kirby and I were talking about this a little bit, but like, I actually took very few notes when I was watching this, and it was like I was taking a good amount of notes in the start, and then I just ended up not taking as many as I was going in, and then the finale. Oh my God. Several moments where it's like, this is really good. I'm not sure if this is gonna beat The Incredibles. And it was like, I was thinking about like, well, Joy is very good, but she's not the best Pixar character. And I was trying to like critique it and analyze it, and the ending came in, and it transcended that. when I finished the film, like I was crying like heavily to the point of my eyes burning, and unlike Toy Story 3, I felt like $1,000,000. It's like once it was finishing up, and like the post credits or in the credits, like they explore all the other emotions in the other characters, like the teacher and Jangles and the dog and the cat, and I was laughing my ass off. But like when I finished this movie, I was like, I felt like wrecked. and I'm sorry that I've been spending like 7 minutes on this, but
no, we wanted you to talk about this.
Don't be sad. I mean, okay, all right. Bad movie to be saying don't feel sad, but
we've been wanting you to talk about this for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
It got me like introspective, where I was like, I think about like how to rank it, and it was like, what the fuck are we doing ranking this? Like, God, fuck that. This was just an incredible fucking movie.
Okay, like, I think can we just name the episode "Fuck the Ranking" with like a sense of there?
Cause, God damn it, this was like I was in the same thing with you, where it was like I was nitpicking on some of the stuff, and like I wasn't getting much into Joy, and especially her attitude towards Sadness. But then I was realizing, wait a minute, this is a redemption arc as well. This is where Joy realizes like what's been missing, what's been wrong, and that Sadness is not an opposite of Joy. They can work together.
And Lightning McQueen, quote unquote, had the redemption story, but this was done a lot better.
I was gonna say earlier, I didn't know if that was gonna be too much of a burn, but this was far better of a redemption arc.
Let me say one thing about the ending. Every time I've watched this movie, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth time, Each time, I did cry pretty hard at Bing Bong. That super good. But what always got me crying the most was when Riley went to her family at the end. That is, since the first viewing, what has always gotten to me the hardest.
You pretty much hit the nail on the head, Wash. And it was great seeing, like, the orbs show that visually. Like, you see actually 2 different color orbs for memories instead of just one single color, which is cool. And then throughout most of the film, you do see those, like, multicolored orbs all throughout now. Mm-hmm. So it's showing the motions, like, unifying, and it's great. This was the first time I cried more for Bing Bong than I cried for the ending. And I still love both.
Yeah.
I think they're both powerful. They're both extremely powerful and extremely fitting, but I cried for Bing Bong. Like, I was, like, crying, like, damn it, but I didn't cry much for the ending.
I can understand that from just, like, you just spent out after Bing Bong.
Yeah. And it's still powerful, though. It's still immensely powerful, and it closes the theme very well, and it just ends with the message, one of the best movie messages that any animated movie has taken out, is that it's okay to quote the Fairly Odd Parents of all things.
I knew that someone was going to say this.
It's okay to feel sad sometimes.
And it's so weird because that quote is a parody of Mr. Rogers, who would very much say the same thing.
Who pretty much said the same thing, yes. Listen to Mr. Rogers, guys. Fuck the rankings and listen to Mr. Rogers. And on that note, rankings.
Okay, final thoughts. Does Wash start or does Wash go last?
No, Wash is going last. You don't have a choice, Wash.
I respect that.
I'm not even giving Wash the choice. You're going last.
All right.
So you shut up until we both talk.
then I'm gonna force myself into this. Random, you go first.
Oh shit. Okay. All right, that's fair. This was my favorite Pixar movie for a little while, and I can definitely see why. It's very imaginative, very fun, and it's probably one of the most creative Pixar movies in general. And I love how they turn these simple concepts into something amazing and out of the box. And it's also emotional too. It's funny, it makes you laugh and cry, and I could see why a lot of mental health organizations use this movie as a thing. Oh shit, I need to tell you a story. There was a story when I was in college where we had a mental health awareness game, and we had all the, like, athletes and me, for some reason, we all wore characters representing each of the characters in Inside Out. And I forgot about that story. And it was such a fun game, and I was Fear, of course. And it just makes me realize why they would do stuff like that, because this movie resonates with people. It really touches people's hearts, and it's just such a good film, such a really good film, and I really, really enjoyed watching it again. This was I knew this was going to be a highlight for Pixarspective, and it truly was. KirbyFan.
I'm going to keep it very brief. You two, I'm sure, Random already did an excellent job at doing this, covering the emotional highlights and benefits of this movie. Me being me, I gotta say, I loved it, and the emotion in this movie is real. I just personally, I don't think it would have worked as well. It would have worked great, but it wouldn't have worked as well if this movie wasn't so funny.
Yeah.
Feelings in this movie. That's my final thoughts. Wash, your turn.
This movie's amazing. Now let's talk about rankings.
I'm talking about keeping it brief.
It's so hard for me to voice my thoughts because, like I said, this was. I had been fearing this for a while, like I said, because it was. I remember when we started one of the because we ranked the Pixar films. I remember at one point it was like the movie had just come out, and I was surprised that it was at the number 1 spot. I'm worried that it's not going to live up to all the hype that I've been putting up for it. It was a great start. The middle was very, very good. There were some weak points that some like nitpicky stuff where it's like it's not working as well as I would like it. Ending, like as soon as the ending came in, I was blown away. it honestly felt like a first in terms of the Pixarspectives, where I was just floored. It's so hard for me to like talk about the stuff in terms of like screenplay and in terms of like the plot and the characters, because everything culminated in that. And so that's kind of why I wanted to. I was almost gonna watch this again this morning, and just so I could get in that proper headspace of like realizing that like joy would being kind of dickish towards sadness, because she fears sadness in a way. And I barely even got to talk about character design, because good lord. Like we've talked about the character designs in previous films, and this was where we really got to. Pete Docter got to like really put this break this down into such basic shapes. Joy is a star, sadness is a tear, anger is a fire brick, fear is a nerve, disgust is a broccoli.
Like, oh yeah, like oh my god, I didn't notice that.
All of this works
disgust is broccoli,
beautifully, yeah. and especially works because of the cartooniness. Let's get into rankings.
I've been looking forward to this.
Random, you said to us before the taping, you have a ranking change.
Yes. I'm very interested.
Because there was one point where I was ranking the film, and I actually had to look at the list this time. Wait a minute, this isn't right. I need to change this right now.
Okay.
I want to put, and it's funny you mentioned this, because KirbyFan mentioned that the last ranking I did was move The Incredibles up.
No, I knew it. No!
I'm putting Incredibles above WALL-E.
Okay. Oh my god.
Don't you had a heart attack. I thought you were going to be... No, I'll put it back down.
No. Oh god, no. I was just thinking about it.
Don't do that to me. That totally just spoiled whether or not I like Inside Out more than The Incredibles or not.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Can you hear this, guys? I'm actually panting.
I heard you just go no, and I'm like, what? I'm raising it up.
I thought you were gonna say you were putting it full.
Because you said putting it. It was funny that you said I put Incredibles up, because it sounds like you're gonna say but.
Yeah, that's why I shouted. Oh my god.
No, I just said it was funny because I'm bringing Incredibles up again one tier. So
explain it, because I need a minute.
Because I was thinking about it, and I was like thinking about like all the story stuff in Incredibles. Like, it has a great villain. It has great, fantastic characters. It has more than one great, and like while WALL-E and Eve are great, it has a whole family of cast. The humans are 10 times better developed, and
it's all humans.
Yeah, exactly. All humans are great, and I just like it more. And I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, why is WALL-E above Incredibles? And I just need to fix that. So now it's up Nemo, Incredibles,
yep.
WALL-E.
Perfect. All right.
So just edit that. Yep. That's a change. So now Incredibles gets higher. So do the math there if you have to, or don't do the math, whatever you want.
I'm feeling a lot better. So
he had us in the first half. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was like shocked. Like, why are you mad?
Okay, so I'm not gonna calculate your change just yet, but that's definitely gonna affect things down the line. So I'm just gonna take it from the bottom up. Our current rankings with the past 14 films. From the bottom up: Cars 2, A Bug's Life, Ratatouille, Toy Story 3, Brave, Monsters University, Toy Story 2, Cars, Toy Story 1, Monsters Inc., WALL-E, Up, Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles. I'm gonna note that Monsters University and Brave are tied for 9th place.
Oh, this is not breaking the tie.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
There's gonna be a point soon, but this is not breaking the tie.
No. And if it does, God.
Yeah, something's wrong with one of us.
Yes.
All right.
So let's go from the bottom. Random and I both have Cars 2, and Kirby has A Bug's Life. I'll start with Random. Is Inside Out better than Cars 2?
Do I really have to answer that? Yes, it's better than Cars 2.
A, this is procedure, and B, where do we start?
We have to start from the beginning. Yes, it's better than Cars 2.
Okay, I agree. Kirby, is this better than A Bug's Life?
Like, I want to say no just as a joke, but I like Inside Out so much, and I hate A Bug's Life so much. I can't even joke about it. Yes, it's better.
Okay, moving up. Random and I both have A Bug's Life. Kirby, you have Cars 2. Random.
I'll start on this one. Yes, it's better than Cars 2.
It's better than A Bug's Life. Random, is it better than A Bug's Life?
Yes, it's better than A Bug's Life.
Moving up. It's just gonna take forever. Random and I both have Ratatouille. And Kirby has Monsters University. I think this is better than Ratatouille. Random, is this better than Ratatouille?
Just for anyone who's watching this, you may want to fast forward a couple of minutes. Yes, it's better than Ratatouille.
You gotta add a timestamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is gonna be a really dragged out joke.
I'm not even gonna make you say it. Yes, I like it more than Monsters.
Yes, I agree. That is better than Ratatouille. Moving up. I have Brave. Kirby has Ratatouille. Random has Toy Story 3. I think it's better than Brave. Kirby, is it better than Ratatouille?
Yep.
Random, is it better than Toy Story 3?
Yes, it's better than Toy Story 3.
Moving up. Kirby and I have Toy Story 3, and Random has Brave. I think it's better than Toy Story 3. Kirby, is it better than Toy Story 3?
I share that opinion.
Random, is it better than Brave?
Spoilers, yes. I said it before, but yes.
Random and I have Monsters University. Kirby has Brave. Random, is it better than Monsters University?
Yes.
Kirby, is it better than Brave?
Yes.
I think it's better than Monsters University. Moving up. I have Cars. Kirby has Toy Story 2. Random has Cars. Kirby, is it better than Toy Story 2?
Ooh.
Okay, so yes, I just really quickly want to bring up that quote I said before. Toy Story 2 is funnier than Inside Out. Fear is funnier than Toy Story 2. Just want to say that.
That's good. Okay. Random, is it better than Cars?
Sorry, Kirby fan, but yes, it's better than Cars.
Okay, I wholeheartedly agree.
This is the first time I've said that in a long time.
I'm gonna hold any comments that I have until we get to Inside Out against Cars. Spoilers.
Okay.
Random and I both have Toy Story 2. Kirby, you have Toy Story 1. I think it's better than Toy Story 2. Random, is it better than Toy Story 2 for you?
Yes.
Kirby, is it better than Toy Story 1?
Yes.
Okay, moving up. I have Toy Story 1. Kirby has Up, and Random has Monsters Incorporated. I'll start. It's definitely better than Toy Story 1. Kirby, is it better than Up?
Yes, although I just do want to reiterate this point because I don't think I did a good job of saying it in the Up episode. I think Up is amazing.
Yes.
I just want to reiterate that because I might have been a little mean toward it. I think it's amazing, but I do think Inside Out is better.
It's definitely better than the video game.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. Guess what review just came out by the time this got recorded?
Random, is it better than Monsters Incorporated?
Yes.
Yeah, and this episode also came out right after your Monsters Incorporated the video game.
I mean, don't tempt me. I have the Game Boy game.
Oh no. Okay, moving up. Now I have Monsters Incorporated. Kirby, you have Wall-E, and Random, you have Toy Story 1. I think this is better than Monsters Incorporated. Kirby, is this better than Wall-E?
Yes.
Okay. Random, is this better than Toy Story 1?
Yes.
Okay, moving on up.
You two can hold off, but this is where I'm going to start elaborating because this is when the list started to get hard for me.
I understand.
It didn't start to get hard for me.
Well, we'll talk about that.
One more after.
We'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
Okay. I have Wall-E. Kirby, you have Monsters Incorporated. And Random, you have Wall-E. Random, is this better than Wall-E?
Yes.
Okay. Kirby, is this better than Monsters Incorporated?
Yes. I still this title is still not, even after Monsters U, this title is still not taken. Mike and Sully I still think are the best Pixar duo. As a duo, I enjoy them more than I enjoy Joy and Sadness. Enjoy Joy. I really love the world that both movies built. I thought Inside Out was much better designed for its species. I still do not get why in a world with slime monsters there are sewer holes. I'm never going to understand that. But no, Inside Out, Because Monsters, Inc., one of its biggest strengths, really does feel like it's very well thought out, but at the same time it doesn't. Inside Out just really feels fully realized, and that's what's so great. Monsters, Inc. is well thought out, but it's not fully realized. Inside Out is fully realized, and that's really good. Monsters, Inc., very emotional. Inside Out, more emotional. Monsters, Inc., very funny. Gotta regurgitate my Toy Story 2 quote, even though the movie itself might not be as necessarily funny. It had fear. That's all that mattered. Fear is better than any character in Monsters, Inc. Sorry, Mike. I gotta say, I even think just Inside Out I thought was better acted. Pretty much, even the message of growing up that Monsters, Inc. kind of had with Boo, I thought was just done better in Inside Out.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that I think Monsters, Inc. has is that I think its duo of protagonists I thought were better. But compare that to everything else that Inside Out did right, and it's no question I pick Inside Out.
Okay. And I don't know if I had said if whether it was better than WALL-E, but I agree. Moving on up.
All right, Wash has been waiting for this.
I really wanted to say this at the beginning, but we kind of got swept into this discussion. But before this started, I knew that this would eventually be Kirby explaining why she liked Incredibles more than Inside Out. But I was not sure. This was the wild card. I was not sure whether she was going to explain why Cars is better than Inside Out.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to keep the suspense?
Let's keep the suspense. I have Finding Nemo, Kirby has Cars, Random has The Incredibles. Random, let's start with you. Is Inside Out better than The Incredibles?
While The Incredibles did get a ranking increase, it unfortunately did not get a ranking of 2 increased. I think Inside Out is better than Incredibles. And I will elaborate this one.
Yes, I was just going to say, I'm going to be very greedy here. Can you elaborate?
It's a couple reasons. They have great thought out characters in The Incredibles. I love the villain. I love the characters. I love the dark and gritty environments. But I think Inside Out has a much more imaginative environment, and they're able again turn simple concepts into great spectacular imaginative things. They're able to do more with the emotions, and they don't need a villain.
Right.
And I do love Syndrome, but the fact that they don't need it is great. While the fact they don't need a villain is beneficial for all the rankings, I will say I love Syndrome, but I don't know. I just liked Inside Out better.
Okay,
yeah, that's fair. That's
very fair. Absolutely. I definitely think that this was better than Finding Nemo. I guess this might be a point where I can elaborate that. I guess one of the few complaints I really had about Finding Nemo was the fish tank. That it just didn't.
I was waiting for that.
B plot just didn't feel. It just didn't feel as strong as the rest of it. It's still very, very funny and incredibly heartbreaking. It's hard for me to say much more than I just like Inside Out way better. Now let's just get to this point. Kirby, do you feel that Inside Out is better than Cars?
So I already said Monsters, Inc. was when this got tough. I'm just going to drop this sentence out there so that anybody who watches this cannot unhear this sentence. It was hard for me to decide between Inside Out and Cars. That part's done. I made my joke. And it was very difficult. Both films had very different, really good things about them. But ultimately, as much as I love Cars, I cannot say I liked it more than Inside Out.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate on that?
It's just like I always. It's so hard with Cars because it's very personal. Why I love Cars so much. Sure. It's between its messages and the characters that I liked and the setting. It's interesting because for a Pixar movie, Cars isn't really the setting that you'd expect, but that doesn't change the fact that with Inside Out, it's not a setting you'd expect from a movie. I feel like that's much more important. I thought Cars was charming. I thought some of its jokes landed really well, but Inside Out had fear, so there goes that. Mm-hmm. The ending of Cars I thought was its strongest point, but Riley and her family was some of the most emotional I've gotten over a movie, so there goes that advantage. Really, like with Monsters, Inc., how Mike and Sully were really the only advantage. I think the only advantage that Cars had, Inside Out had a much better world and was much better realized, but Cars Cars just had a more united cast of characters, and like the homey feel that Cars has is still its thing over Inside Out. But also, if Inside Out had more characters, it wouldn't have worked. So it's not a problem with Inside Out. It's just something that Cars did, and it did really well. But Inside Out definitely better than Cars, in my opinion.
That's the first time that any film has gotten this far up the list since Cars.
Yeah, you just brought up last time that Cars had been in the number 3 slot for a long time.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, Inside Out's next. You should have waited a week.
This is also special because, this is the first time in a long while where all 3 of us are this far up the list.
Yeah.
I think the last time for all 3 of us was actually The Incredibles.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was. And then right before that was Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
We from that point we were buddy together.
Yeah, and then Cars happened and everyone hated me, and then more movies happened and you and Random started hating each other.
But it leaves Inside Out to unite us together.
Yeah,
exactly. Beautiful movie.
Okay, moving on up. Well, speaking of moving on up, I have Up, and Random and Kirby, you both have Finding Nemo.
Hey, we share one this time.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's not going to last long, I bet.
Well, let's see.
All right, let's see.
So it actually does. I think me and Random have a bit because we have the same favorite, second favorite, or this point. So how about Wash goes first?
Okay. Like I was saying, it's so hard for me to express it, but I definitely think that this is better than Up.
You're gonna have to elaborate on this one.
I'm gonna have to elaborate on this one. I think because like you're talking earlier about villain, and isn't it so special how we have an Inside Out film with no villain, and it didn't even need one. Like if you really go for who's a villain or who's or more of an antagonist, then it's Joy herself, because her fear of and her protectiveness of Riley is what got them into this mess. And once she realizes what she'd been doing wrong, that's when she makes a change. Muntz, I still defend Muntz purely in a metaphorical, because he's the perfect mirror image of Carl Fredricksen. Story-wise, is kind of a sloppy villain. Now, you two both have Finding Nemo. Let's start with Random. No. Let's start with Kirby.
Really?
Because you went last time.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fair.
Kirby, is Inside Out better than Finding Nemo?
This was tough. My list is already done. I spoiled enough times what I think about Inside Out versus The Incredibles, but just to spoil it again, this is the one that I had to sleep on. This is why it took me so long to pick. And I thought about what my problems were with Inside Out. Some pacing problems. Joy was a little too much sometimes. Maybe a little thing here and there. Maybe some stuff that Random brought up that I didn't really realize, but he said, and I said, yeah, that's true. And I thought about its strengths, which was pretty much everything else about the movie. And I thought about Finding Nemo. I thought about Finding Nemo's strengths, which was a vast majority of the movie. And my problems with it, which, as with Wash, was pretty much the fish tank. And if we're just looking at this, in terms of the numbers, that would say Finding Nemo, I would like it more than Inside Out. That would make sense. But if we're going to look at them in terms of the problems and how much they bothered me, which is really what matters, the actual statistics, I would say that I do, in fact, like Inside Out more than Finding Nemo.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Although, let it be said, this was tough. It's very close. And unlike the last 2 movies where I said, oh, Monsters, Inc. had this, Cars had this, there's plenty that I like more about Finding Nemo than Inside Out. But there's plenty of what I like about Inside Out than Finding Nemo.
Yeah, I absolutely. Now, Random, is Inside Out better than Finding Nemo?
Again, this one was also tough for me as well. I didn't have to sleep on it. I figured it out before I went to bed. I figured out most of the list before I went to bed. And I just thought about, do I like this more than Finding Nemo? How do I feel about it? How do I feel about Finding Nemo? Because there's so many great things about Finding Nemo that I like. I'm not.
What do you like more, handling your emotions or Father's Day?
No, in a way, yes. I like how Inside Out deals with emotions. And while the father-son bond between Finding Nemo is great, and the adventure is great, and the growing of Marlin is wonderful, Inside Out's better, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not to say that Finding Nemo's terrible. It's not. No. It's God amazing, and I still adore it heavily. It just was really tough, but it just came down to the fact that I like Inside Out more for its imaginativeness and the fact that it balanced the A plot, and both the A plot and B plot were good.
I'm gonna quickly mention Ratatouille because that was the opposite. All right.
God. Oh boy. It's been a while since a Pixar film has made it to the top 2 for all of us.
The last time for me was Finding Nemo because Cars didn't make it this far.
Last time with me was, well, actually, we'll talk about that because, yeah, it was up. Okay. That was the last time where I climbed up this high.
Oh, so me and Wash have the same because I know what Wash's list is. Do you want to say them and then just have me go first because mine's the super obvious one?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, Kirby.
Wash say everything first.
Inside Out better than The Incredibles?
I hate to say it like this, but it's not even close. I'm sorry. It's The Incredibles.
Okay, that's fine.
And absolutely, I will elaborate on this because both are absolutely wonderful movies. But I don't want to say it this simply, but Inside Out, I had an occasional problem and a couple of nitpicks with. Incredibles, kind of Mirage was an issue, maybe, and that's it. Inside Out has some wonderful dynamics between its characters, its emotions, the family. The Incredibles juggles a narrative, its side characters, a husband and wife relationship, a father-son relationship, a father-daughter relationship, a mother-daughter relationship, a mother and son relationship, a father's midlife crisis, a human's midlife crisis, superhero action, Frozone / Samuel L. Jackson, comedy, drama, action, thank you. That's already 14 things that I've juggled. And not to say that Inside Out doesn't handle a lot. It handles the growing up of a teenage girl, which is the most difficult part of someone's life in terms of their emotions. But The Incredibles is not just about one person. And Cars isn't about one person. You know, it's about the greater picture. But Cars still focused on Lightning McQueen. And absolutely, The Incredibles is focused on Bob Parr. That's obviously the main protagonist. But Bob cannot function without Helen. He cannot function without his kids, his family. And that is what The Incredibles' biggest strength is. We could talk about how great the music is. We could talk about how great the action is, the story, the characters themselves. Mm-hmm. But Bob's internal struggle with wanting to be there for his family, but also wanting to do what he loves it's brilliant. And Riley's growing up and dealing with puberty is... yeah, you like that. Is also incredible. It's amazing. But I don't know. To me, Inside Out made me cry a lot harder. But when I really think about it, it doesn't make me cry as hard. But it really just gets to me. When Bob says, I can't lose you again. I'm not strong enough. That gets to me so much more than Bing Bong or Riley confronting her family and them having the moment. They're amazing moments. They're beautiful. They're art. But there's something, and I never say this. I don't think I have ever. I defend Cars, but there is something inexplicable about The Incredibles that I can't say.
I understand.
I understand. I get it. I kind of saw this one coming.
Yeah, I saw this one coming.
Everybody did. Look, I vocalized a single complaint about Inside Out. It was pretty obvious. I stopped talking for Inside Out. It was pretty obvious.
Well, I just stopped talking just to let Wash finally talk for once, but because I wanted to hear his opinion about this more than anyone's.
Well, before we get to my opinion, Random.
I want to get to Wash's first.
Yeah, because Random's is the only one that I don't actually know. I pretty handily know what yours is, and obviously everybody knows mine. So Wash, you go first.
I don't know. I kind of want Wash to go for last.
Really?
Kinda. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I guess it's his favorite. It's his movie. Even if it's not his favorite, it was
his favorite back in the day. So I feel it should be right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Random, you can go.
I was really curious about these two, not only because it's the top at the moment. But I also had to review the video game version of this movie, and that was god awful. And a part of me was worried, is this going to affect how I feel about the film? And I was worried about that. So I watched Inside Out on Blu-ray. It was a great experience. I loved it. Everyone's jealous. And I got to the ending and I felt emotions. And I was like, where do I place this on the ranking? But right after I watched the film, I go on YouTube and I want to watch Up, but I can't because I don't own it. So I turn on the ending for Up. Not the ending, the scene where he gets his house at Paradise Falls and looks through the photo album one more time, the adventure book. Yeah. And then I just watched that scene.
We had an adventure, now go on a new one.
Yep. And I bawl my eyes out, and I immediately bought Up on Blu-ray. Up wins. Up wins. It's my number one still.
That is such a beautiful moment. That's not even the opening, you know? The opening of Up, the one that everyone was just like, oh, that's it.
No,
that's
it's
a
great.
Completely different part of the movie that is equally beautiful.
Yeah, I know the opening great, but that scene just blows it out of the park.
Yeah, I know, man. Oh man. And I know you're the one talking. I just really want to bring this up super quick. What I so love about it, when he's throwing everything out of his house, but he still sets up his couches normally.
Yes.
So
it's great. It's great. Up is my number one. Inside Out was close, but it came down to two main things. One, the ending scene. I just can't top that. And two, I liked Carl more as a main character. Like, Carl never really annoyed me too much.
I completely understand.
Joy did at points. And now I'm excited because the Up Blu-ray should arrive in about tomorrow.
Ooh,
and
that's
the only thing I don't like about the Up Blu-ray is that it has Russell on the cover, which
so you can't have it when I come over. You just can't have it out.
No, I can't unless you want to have Russell just staring at you in the face.
Oh god.
But it was
creepy.
It was tough. It was really, really tough. And I was worried because Inside Out was also my number one, and it beat Up at one point. It very beat Up when I was younger. But I just can't. So, Up is number one.
We haven't really bought this movie Up too much, but now that Up, you prefer it to Inside Out. Now I think your narrative, other than Good Dinosaur, your narrative really is
Coco better than Up?
Is Coco better than Up? And I'm really looking forward to that.
I don't know anymore.
I'm so looking forward to it because you're
really
in that short time that's passed. You're such a different person.
I know.
So many of your hobbies are just so different. I'm so interested.
I'm interested too. I mean, for all I know, I'm even nervous about Good Dinosaur. Like, it may not be as bad as I think it's going to be, and all this hype may have been
Good
built
Dinosaur
for nothing.
Or Cars.
I don't like confrontations.
Speaking of Wash, I just want to say it has been an honor sharing number one for this long. Do you prefer Inside Out or Les Incredibles?
Monsieur Incredible!
Man, I could have made that reference and I didn't. Some Incredibles fan that I am.
Monsieur Incredible!
Bodhi?
I laughed so hard I heard my back crack.
Oh God. Ow.
The Incredibles causes me pain.
We are delaying the inevitable.
Go for it. Shoot.
So, as I was saying during my whole ramble about the ending, was this made me, like, introspective. And it really got me, because I was thinking, like, do I like this better than Incredibles? Do I... And it's like... The reason I was saying, like, fuck rankings was because, all this time, I've been saying, is Toy Story better than Monsters Incorporated? From a film perspective, from, like, I don't want to say, like, clinical, but maybe more objective perspective, The Incredibles is a better movie than Inside Out. Nothing in The Incredibles came close to how I felt after the ending of Inside Out. Bob is a far better protagonist than Joy. Like, the cast of characters in The Incredibles is fantastic. Absolutely. Nothing of that changes how I felt. And that's the main thing about Inside Out. Not saying anything against Incredibles, obviously.
I mean, between Inside Out, The Incredibles and Inside Out, how many movies was that? A lot.
A lot. And you know what? What's so cool is that now each of us have a unique favorite film in the rankings.
I think is that the first time ever?
It was Toy Story 1, and then it was Finding Nemo, and then I had Incredibles. Yeah. I didn't put Monsters, Inc. above Toy Story 1 until Cars, and that was after The Incredibles.
And what I love about this is that like you can see from these top 3 films what each of us value more.
Yes.
Oh
my God, yes.
And also, what I really like is that it's no troll picks. It's not like, Cars 2, Bug's Life or something. These are super valid picks.
Like, anyone could be like, yeah, we see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Well, obviously this was an emotional roller coaster. That's become our other cliche next to, we'll get to that when we get to that. We have a ranking.
So, okay,
yes, we have a ranking.
Yes, Incredibles over WALL-E for random, and then all of our Inside Out placements.
Whew.
So calculate that ranking. Calculate that emotional ranking.
We have it now from the bottom up. Cars 2 at 22. A Bug's Life at 23. Ratatouille at 28. Toy Story 3 at 32. Brave at 33. Monsters University at 33. Spoilers, they're tied for 10th.
They're fighting to see who gets top 10.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. Toy Story 2 at 41. Cars at 44. Toy Story 1 at 45. Monsters Inc. at 48. WALL-E at 50. Up at 55. Finding Nemo at 56. Incredibles at 59. Inside Out at 61.
What?
Oh, wow, that's
You know what it was? So it was specifically that Random put Incredibles at 4th place.
Oh, snap.
Random's the wild card here.
But it's in the top 3 now. Oh, God.
Now, what is our top 5 right now, other than...
Our average top 5 are from the top, Inside Out. Second is Incredibles, then Finding Nemo, then Up, and then WALL-E.
What's surprising about that is that, despite the fact that, we all have so many different placements for these films, that's not a list I would see too many people disagreeing with.
No?
Yeah.
The only film missing would be Coco, and we haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that. Or The Good Dinosaur.
One more week!
So, listen, if you have just joined us in this episode, hello. Thank you for listening through. But also, I don't think...
You got a lot of catching up to do.
I don't think we really understand what the next episode means to us.
Ooh.
We'll get to that when we get to that.
The movie isn't as important to me as The Incredibles, but as far as the episodes go, The Incredibles has nothing on this.
We've been hyping Good Dinosaur up since the beginning.
I think since day one.
And I've been dreading it since the beginning.
Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur came out the same year.
That's right,
they did.
And that made it worse.
Did it though? Let's find out in the next episode. Until then, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
I have been Wash.
I'm Random Bystander here.
And despite anything, I'm with The Incredibles.
Thank you.
Can we skip Good Dinosaur?
No!